It's a state filled with natural beauty. It's a region filled with natural beauty. It's a region filled with beautiful people, strong families, proud heritage. But unfortunately, the state has developed, and again, the broader region has developed a well-deserved reputation that's, at best, agnostic to innovation and entrepreneurship, and at worst, outright hostile.
When I think of West Virginians, I've said this before, so it's not really a novel concept, but I kind of think of us as dreamers, but we're also doers, very proud people, and very entrepreneurial people. We root our selves and everything that we do kind of in our community and really hold true to our values and take care of one another.
We got good people in West Virginia, and I think West Virginia is an up-and-coming state. People are looking at us and wanting to move here. To me, it's hard to find a place more beautiful than West Virginia.
At one point when we were completely dependent on natural resources, if the coal markets tanked, our state's entire economy would fail. The more we diversify, the more consistent we are as a state government. And it's also important for our people, for the workers within the state, to have a diverse opportunity as to how to earn a living and provide for their family.
The state economy has been pretty slow for a long time. About 85 years, we were holding out hope that something would change while doing the same old thing. And since about 2016, things really started to shift. The mindset of the state shifted, and we realized that whatever we were doing, it just had to be different than what we were doing before.
First heard of Sandbox at the Inco meeting, and it was a representative from Kentucky, and they were working on their Sandbox bill on insurance. Started studying a little bit and talking to him, and I brought it to West Virginia. The Sandbox is thinking outside the box. I introduced it just to let people look at it with no intention of running it and get some feedback, and I got some feedback and some negative feedback and some positive feedback. The big eyes reached out to me and wanted to know what I was doing, why I was doing it, and they had concern, and they run up the ladder and over the summer talking to their lobbyists and stuff and coming back. And the following year they said, "You going to run?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, we're okay with it now. We know more about it. We looked into it and brought it back the following year and passed it bipartisan." As far as Republican and Democrat, it was a bipartisan bill because it was helping the business of West Virginia, which helped the people of West Virginia. So they could just show them what it was going to do, what it possibly could do. And we just want the opportunity to do about anything you want to do in West Virginia, and that's why we've been out in front of the Sandbox.
I have a 4- and 7-year-old, so I have a general concept of what the lay meaning of a sandbox is. But when we heard about it as it sort of relates to economic development and really starting those small businesses in West Virginia, that was something that I was super attracted to.
A regulatory sandbox is kind of a strange way to describe something that promotes freedom for business. And in order to be a part of a regulatory sandbox, you just have to be a business that is willing to be innovative and work with the state board to relieve some of these regulations to allow new businesses to prosper and come into the state.
The problem that a sandbox addresses is that it's a fallacy that Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch or Goldman Sachs should be regulated the same way, that a new technology, financial-based business should be in its infancy.
Oftentimes when we think of entrepreneurship and growing small businesses, we sort of think of our cell phones and hoverboards and big tech and Silicon Valley. But at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is the small business that's on the Whitewater, that's on the New River Gorge. It's the small business that is servicing plumbing and HVAC needs in West Virginia. It's the outfit that's taking people on the Hatfield-McCoy Trail. Those are all businesses that started somewhere. And I think that I have a great appreciation and desire to grow those kinds of businesses in West Virginia, not only because it enriches the communities where they sort of come up, but it creates sort of an ecosystem where we encourage a mindset that it's okay to dream, It's okay to do, it's okay to fail, frankly.
We just want the opportunity to do about anything you want to do in West Virginia, and that's why we've been out in front of the Sandbox.
At least in terms of regulation, people often think, well, that's a benefit to the consumer, right? Because it's all about consumer protection. And it's really it's similar to the Bastiat seen versus unseen problem, which is you see the benefits of a regulation, right? If you want to think about it in terms of increases to public health or public safety or something like this, what you don't see are the number of innovations, the number of entrepreneurs that never get started, that never manifest because it's too expensive. The cost of building something is too expensive. And so consumers ultimately never have access to perhaps a life-saving drug or a more efficient way of doing business. And so how do you measure that? It's very difficult to do. But I think certainly over the span of generations, it's been a huge problem in our economy.
The Sandbox is a regulatory framework that allows a new business, a new technology to develop and experiment outside of the regulations that are more tailored towards established businesses. So therefore, they can experiment and grow in a more free environment as opposed to a more regulated environment. I actually thought multiple times the term sandbox, I think what may be more applicable is a flower garden, because it creates a system where businesses, i.e. seeds, can be planted and grow and prosper without the burdensome regulations and supervision that more established businesses have. It's not necessarily about the new business, it's about the new technology and the innovation, whether it's one business or a multitude of businesses.
And sometimes you could wait a few years to see those success stories, or you may never see them if you're unfortunate. But in regulatory sandboxes, we saw those quite clearly and quite quickly with a group like Freedom Trust. And if you think about it, Freedom Trust works on Bitcoin, it works in the financial space. You really don't connect that with West Virginia. And that's the beautiful thing about public policy reform and public policy innovation, is that's an excellent way to wipe away your history, to start anew, and begin envisioning what a better future could look like.
There's no question that we will continue to grow up in the rankings. And we're not necessarily asking for number one overnight, but getting to 35th would be a major accomplishment for West Virginia.
For the first time in the state, recent history, we've seen a net positive migration into the state. So we are seeing the results of all of the hard work to diversify and expand our economy starting to pay off.
What we've discovered with particularity to the fintech piece was that it gained a lot of traction. Not only on the West Coast, where they've been doing a lot of these sort of initiatives, but it began to attract people that were far away from West Virginia to look at West Virginia and say, wow, that looks like a great place to go and try out our products. So I think it's a message. I mean, of course, it's individual success stories, and we want participation, and we want to see that it works. But it's also the education and the marketing of the success that it is working, I think, sort of inures to the benefit of not only that community of entrepreneurs, but also the people of West Virginia.
My vision for West Virginia's economy is to be as abundantly successful and diverse enough to offer opportunities for anyone who wants to make a living in this state to be able to do so. The beauty of a sandbox and the beauty of the environment we're trying to create is that we don't know what it looks like. What it looks like in a month may not be what it looks like in 2 years. We just hope to create an environment where what it does look like is created here.
The reason I run for office 10 years ago was try to make West Virginia a better place to live and try to keep our young people here. And I think pieces like sandbox legislation does that. It shows that we want you to stay here, we want you to come here, we want you to make this your home. So to me, it's not left or right, it's just the thing to do, the right thing to do.
Yeah, West Virginia is my favorite place on earth. The people here work harder than anybody I've ever met. They're kinder than anybody I've ever met. And really this whole culture is really based on freedom. And so when we propose these issues, it's really no surprise that they're ready to be part of the change.